A couple of months ago, I did a challenge where I had to work out Playing God by Polyphia in just 20 minutes by ear. So today, I thought I would do exactly the same thing with the Polyphia song G.O.A.T and talk you through exactly what's happening in my head. So let's do it. Okay, headphones on. So the first thing that I do is to try and work out the bass notes. I'm trying to isolate out the lowest notes in the piece of music and try and forget everything else. The reason for this is because they are slightly easier to pick out, and it will give me an idea about what scale and what chords and everything else will come from these bass notes. Once I've worked out the bass notes, then I can move on to try and work out what else is happening in the piece of music. So I'm essentially just filling in the gaps. Okay, so I've got the introduction. At the beginning, it's more of a marimba sound, so obviously that's a little bit easier to listen to, but I know when the guitar comes in, it's going to be a lot harder. So just by roughly working out the notes, I know that it's in the key of B minor, and I know the chords are basically B minor, D major, G major, and F sharp major, and the bass notes are working around those chords. That makes working out the rest of the notes and the melody that's in there a little bit more easy, because obviously it's limiting the amount of notes that it could possibly be. So at this point, I'm about midway through learning the main sort of guitar riff, and as with when you are trying to learn anything pretty quickly or within a time limit, I'm finding that I'm forgetting some of the stuff that I've already worked out. So it's a little bit of a juggling act between trying to remember and practice the things that I've already worked out and working out the next bits. But fortunately, at this point, obviously I know what the chords are, I know what the melody is, and I know the kind of places that the music is gonna go, or at least whereabouts I want to play it on the piano. But normally when you are learning a piece of music, if you get to the point where you're starting to forget stuff because you're learning too much, then it's usually best to just quit while you're ahead. Working out this kind of riff that he does is actually really quite difficult because the notes go so fast, but because I know the scale that it's using, as long as you get the note that he's playing at the bottom of the scale and at the top of the scale, it's probably going to be playing all of the notes within it. So it's pretty fast, but you can make something that sounds pretty similar quite easily. With this song and with Playing God, the actual hard part is not like the main notes, it's all the stuff that's in between and the harmonics that he uses. Because on a piano, obviously I'm trying to decide whereabouts on the piano it needs to be played, and if he's playing harmonics, obviously I want to jump quite high up. But then when you play it on the piano, you're jumping around between the normal notes that he plays and then the harmonics that he plays. Okay, so I think I've kind of got most of the notes. I just need to now practice it and make sure I'm at least playing the same thing every time. When doing these kind of challenges, I always like to leave myself just a little bit of time to practice it, because when you're working through the notes, you're obviously not going to be able to play them perfectly every time. Half of the battle is working out what the notes actually are, and then the other half is being able to memorize it and play it fluently. So that's it. Time up. 20 minutes is done. Let's see if I can play it. Well, there you go. Not exactly perfect, but I think that was not a bad attempt. If you haven't seen my original video where I learnt playing God in 20 minutes, then head on through, and I will see you there.